such a good allegory to describe how instant our action needs to be. People will say, oh, I'll solve it in 5 years, I'll solve it in 2 years. No way, it literally needs to be solved yesterday. So yeah, I think the outcome of that is whatever you can do, the small actions you can take, do them today.
I'm enjoying that. Seems to work.
Come on in and let's circle around.
Welcome everybody! Before we go any further, let's hear you say, one ball!
One ball!
Come on, louder, one ball!
One ball!
One ball, one world!
One ball, one world!
One ball, one world!
One ball, one world!
Loudest! One ball, one world!
One ball, one world!
Nice. Now you're going to get really sweaty. There's going to be time for music and culture later, but before that, over to our Lord and President, the man who set up Spirit of Football so that he could be president of something, Andrew Aris!
So I set up Spirit of Football in Germany, but I'd like to say a big round of applause to the man who helped to set up Spirit of Football. The first Spirit of Football was in the UK, and that is Christian Wach.
Yeah.
And Richard Hamilton. Yeah, Richard. And Phil Wake, who's not here yet, but he's going to be here a bit later.
That's our Phil.
We're here in the park because we're celebrating the 1864 game that was the first ever game of official rules football, way back on the 9th of January 1864. That's why we've got this ball.
Tipping points. Well, I mean, look, climate change is a natural phenomenon that happens whether humans are on the planet or not. However, humans in the last, well, since the Industrial Revolution specifically, of course, we're pumping out an incredible amount of greenhouse gases, mostly carbon, also methane, etc., etc. So much so that in the last 200 years, we've emitted more carbon than what usually happens over the course of millions of years. And that relativity should give you goosebumps.
A lot of people with kids now are kind of realizing, hang on, if I fail to act now, it is my children and even my children who are not that young will be the ones affected. We're starting to see the outcomes of climate change very really now all around the world. There's floods where in places it shouldn't be flooding, there's droughts in places there shouldn't be droughts, and I think it's really getting tangible for people. And yeah, I think another way that people are engaging with us is around sport, and suddenly you go watch your kids' sports game and they might not be able to play this game in 5 to 10 years if the climate crisis continues as it currently is. Pledgeball is an organisation that is trying to engage fans around sustainability, particularly around a mechanism called a pledge, where they take a small action to reduce their own carbon emissions, but it is in relation or as a supporting mechanism of their team.
I'm Katie Cross, and I pledge to reduce my dairy consumption again by 50%.
My name is Aisha, and I'm going to say one ball, one world in Malayalam. That's going to be Oru Kalpande, Oru Logam.
Okay, I'm Beck Smith from Crux Sports, and I pledge a whole bunch of stuff. Veganism. We're going to start maybe planting our own veggies at some point. We pick up a lot of trash in Piss Alley. What else do we do, babe? We don't do dairy. Not into dairy. And one ball, one world.
So I'm Karen Dobre at Lewis FC. I'm an elected director there. And thinking about our carbon emissions, we're doing a scoping project to prioritise what our main actions are. And we think it's going to be about travel to and from games and encouraging people to use public transport rather than cars. We've also got lots of solar panels, and we think we're the first club to have got them in the UK. And we've got a community garden where we're going zero waste with our women's lunches and growing vegetables and then composting them in the garden. So we just think it's very important that we all take responsibility for climate change.
My name is Benjamin Mole, and I pledge to take short showers and swap my bank to a more sustainable bank. One ball, one world.
Yay! Great!
Nice. So much.
I'm Katie Rood. I play football for New Zealand and Hearts up in Scotland, and I bring with me a message of climate action and caring about the environment. I guess I'm just really passionate about nature, and I've realised that as an athlete I have a bit of a voice and a bit of a platform to discuss things that I'm passionate about and that I think are important. And the fans seem to resonate with it. So, yeah, caring about nature in the current climate, I think is really important, that we appreciate what's around us.
I think, fundamentally, working with players, there are so many football players out there, and everyone's human. A lot of these players do care about the planet. They are passionate about protecting it. They know about climate change. It's about having a brand that they're comfortable engaging with is really important. It's not just about being a climate expert, it's also having a brand that their agents will turn around, or they'll look at your socials and be like, yeah, I can partner with these guys, they kind of look like a bit of me. So Football for Future is a new environmental advocacy football organisation. We sort of call ourselves the home of sustainability in English football, but it's sort of started to transcend to being a little bit broader than that within the football industry. So whether that's working with clubs at grassroots level or at elite level, we've worked with our third Premier League club, so we support them. We do comprehensive environmental audits of all of their operations, whether that's their carbon footprint, scope 1, 2 or 3, their energy, their waste, their biodiversity, so we get like a baseline measurement for where they are.
So, with the spoils frustratingly shared against a Newlook Barnstable Town side, the 10-day break hopefully has left the players feeling fresh and renewed, and we're back in action now in the Southampton Divisional FA Cup with today's visitors, 13th tier Hedge End Town.
AFC Totton are a local football club that plays in the Southern League. It was formed back in 1886 and recently moved back in 2010 to the Testwood Stadium, which is now branded the Snow Stadium. I think we're all aware of climate change and the dramatic changes in temperatures that we've all been experiencing, especially just recently. We recently overhauled the floodlights here at the Snow Stadium, obviously cutting down not only the amount of electricity we use, but also the light pollution that could be caused to the local neighbours and local residents.
The way that fast fashion has hit football is the last 10 years, everyone's got a brand new home kit every year. And we thought, well, we could buck a trend, start a conversation, and have a reasonable environmental impact by saying, well, no, we're going to stick with the same design for 2 years. It means that we can change the way that we do our ordering. We can minimise the number of trips, for example, that kit takes from China to here through manufacturing. So we thought, yeah, this feels like the right thing to do on 2 levels.
You've got to balance it out, but I think people used to put profit in front of the environment, and I think we've all changed from that. I think anything the football community can come together and do, and I think it would make huge steps to try and reduce that footprint.
What we're trying to achieve with this is there's the element of what we want to do and the positive impact we want to have, and that's about starting a conversation internally and within our fans about what impact being a football club and following football has. And we've done other small bits like we've got a new stadium which we've tried to design efficiently. It has solar panels, a roof, that kind of thing. But then it's also about possibly the most satisfying things is when we've had articles saying, well, is this the new normal? We're restarting a conversation that should have been had years ago and has been kind of ignored. That is it appropriate for all football clubs to have a brand new home kit every year? And we hope that other football clubs consider doing this because we think environmentally and particularly it's the right thing to do.
This setup here was originally farmers' fields to be utilised by the football clubs here, both AFC Totton and Totton and Eden Football Club, so that the ground could be sold off down in the main town centre for housing. And unfortunately, the contractor at the time didn't put in enough irrigation and enough water systems that would take the water away from the stadium quick enough. Recently, over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, we've gradually changed the composite of the pitches so that they drain much more quicker, and the water drains through a filtration system and then goes back into the natural water course and then down into the lakes. So fortunately, over the last 3 or 4 years, we haven't had any games cancelled here as a result of excessive rainfall.
Let's put it in, flicked on and into the back of the net. Wow, what a goal there. Just spur at the moment, ingenuity from Woody Angel, I think, of all people, and he's off the mark for the Stags. It's now 3-0.
It's going to be one of our major projects over the next couple of years to understand, fully what our environmental impact is. It feels obvious to say, well, you've got fans travelling to games, you've got merchandise, you've got kit, you've got, LED floodlights, that kind of thing. But as a club, we need to do a bit of more self-reflection, understand where we really sit and then build a strategy off the back of it. We don't have at the moment any targets set in stone for that, and it's a case of we need to do that inward piece of work to understand where we sit and then go from there and see what is achievable.
Football is the national sport. I think it's right in saying that it's the most highly attended sport in all the sports within Great Britain. I think everyone's aware that the coming together of fans and the shortening up of journeys, the league in itself is trying to redesign the leagues to cut down the amount of travelling from team to team. So they regionalise the cup competitions until a certain stage. They regionalise the league games as best as they can to stop people having to travel with Savannah.
Adams has got space once more, plays it forward to Gwengwi. First touch takes it round the defender. Gwengwi shoots and Gwengwi scores his second of the game. Jake Adams picked up the ball in midfield, drove forward, picked out Gwengwi, a brilliant first touch to get round the defender. He took aim for the bottom corner and he gave Josh Besson no chance. And it's AFC Totton 5 heading.
Let's take it to a political level. We've got a challenge where the idea of carbon neutrality is probably going to be challenged, in particular on the right of politics, of whether it's the right thing to do, because there's an idea that it's going to make things less affordable. And I think for us it's going to be about making sure the communication is positive. We need that period of, we need to decide what our strategy is and what we're going to do beyond just the 2-year shirt. But I think that element where, we're going to have people challenging is dealing with climate change the right thing to do. It will be a case of, we're showing what the benefits are for everyone in, any schemes that we undertake.
Yeah, well, obviously we've been doing a lot of work with the fans to embrace certainly the midweek games that are obviously not open to the moratorium. And they've come on board with that. Obviously, the cost of fuel nowadays, and the impact on the environment is huge, and I think everybody's very much aware of it and wants to do their bit to help with wasted energy.
Vermont Green FC is a soccer club that's not about soccer.
1, 2, 3, green!
We're here because we're trying to advance environmental justice through the beautiful game.
Amann is so proud to be the title sponsor of VGFC for their first season.
We can take on these issues. We have the capacity to change things.
When it comes to the climate conversation, a lot of people don't know how to get involved, and reaching sports fans where they're at is a great place to start.
Supporting environmental justice legislation here in Vermont and exporting the model of a net zero football club around the country, hopefully around the world.
You know, the on-field goal is to win games and to compete at a high level, and so that the community can enjoy them more.
People love soccer, they want to connect, but can we take that and extend that beyond the field?
I mean, they're building this club from the bottom up. So when we heard of their mission, we knew that it was a perfect partnership. And when we look at a partnership like VGFC, we see that there are other groups here in Vermont that are doing the important work of building organic communities right here at home.
From a financial perspective, obviously, the more we can drive the bills down, the easier it is to run the football club. But also, the more we can not impact the environment by energy-saving exercises and reducing usages, obviously that would be my primary goal, so that I leave this football club with a legacy that can take it into the next century.
I'd say the enthusiasm is a key part of just getting people excited about the potential of what we can do. I think a lot of the time we're focused on the things that aren't going so well, the things that are, I mean, naturally as well, but it's important to look at those things, but then how can we flip it? How can we create solutions and make changes? And I think it starts with an individual, but we have to come collectively and make it a team effort.
You know, you don't have to have a good idea to market it and make it successful. I think, you know, whether it's caring about the planet, we just need to make it cool, and that's it really. Whether that's just using a language that people understand, which, you know, the climate movement never really did before so much, or whether it's making it relate to things that people care about. So, for example, football. If you tell a big football fan that their club could be flooded because of climate change, all of a sudden it resonates with them and it becomes relatable. So yeah, I think to get more people to join the climate movement, you just have to make it as accessible as possible.
I mean, the little one that we always talk about is Pledgeball is just take a shorter shower. It doesn't sound like a lot, but the difference between a 15-minute shower and a 5-minute shower, you know, when you add that up across thousands of people or thousands of showers, that's a huge difference. Going vegan, I've been vegan now for a year. You know, it's difficult to get used to, but it's not impossible. And also, it doesn't have to be the whole way. If you're struggling, if you go out to dinner on a Friday and you can't be vegan, fine. But then Monday to Thursday, give it a go. Even Monday, give it a go. Just see how you like it.
Football, I mean, as we've experienced this afternoon, it makes us feel things that are very, very hard to describe, or even hard to remember until you do it again. And the crazy thing about football is that you do it again and again and again, and you do it really regularly. And it's that kind of incredible, raw emotion that we can use to drive a movement. A movement that protects our game and protects the places we play it. Football, besides all these incredible characteristics, even just the numbers involved, mean that together we can have a really significant impact.